All right, we got more news about CDPR Red, Cyberpunk, and The Witcher 4.
We just got a very surprising update from CD Projekt Red. Yesterday was their Q1 earnings call, and during this they revealed they have 3 totally secret projects in development right now. And what makes this particularly remarkable is this does not include all of those codenamed games they have on the way. These 3 new projects are something completely new that they just haven't talked about yet. What is CDPR working on here? And at least one of those things may
A lot of that, by the way, is probably going to be mobile games. We know that there's an anime on the way. That I don't know what it's supposed to be, the third iteration of Cyberpunk, the Cyberpunk anime or something like that. But there is an anime, so that's going to happen. There's a mobile game. I think there's going to be 2 mobile games because mobile games are just free money at the end of the day. No one wants them, no one plays them, but somehow people play them. Yeah, I don't really understand who plays these mobile games most of the time.
They've just been announced as later this year, The Witcher 3 is getting yet another update to bring console mod support to that game. This of course leading many fans to think that Cyberpunk modding could also be right around the corner. And even beyond all of that, we also just got some updates and particularly interesting insights into Cyberpunk 2, such as a pretty good idea as to when this game will be releasing. And thankfully, CDPR is doing fantastic right now, which does help to justify the plethora of projects they have in the works currently. Even despite not actually releasing anything in a year and a half,
It actually doesn't, which is, again, we have no proof, no nothing, that any kind of BlackRock type esque company, foundation, or whatever has put in money into CDPR Red. But again, something like that must have happened because they got sued. Cyberpunk 2077 at the initial start was a disaster, and it took them years to make the game worthwhile. And at that point, I mean, they got sued and obliterated multiple times. Well, everything settled out of court because why would they fight a fight that they already lost and that they know they would lost? And now you're telling me at the time when they could not deliver to the shareholders and whatnot, they have started multiple new projects because you need to understand this. All of these things that are the unannounced projects and whatnot, all of those things have already been development or in the planning stages, probably for multiple years. Some of them probably a little bit less, but most of them have been for multiple years, and it doesn't make sense.
sales for Cyberpunk and Phantom Liberty are still very strong, with Phantom Liberty having just crossed 10 million copies sold, and even The Witcher 3 posted 60 million copies sold. We are going to talk about some pretty crazy plans coming from CDPR, and it really seems like these games are helping pay for all of that in the interim. Because also during this earnings call, CDPR just voluntarily announced that they have 3 secret projects in the works.
Currently, 9 projects of different types and sizes are in the development stage, 3 of which are still unannounced.
9 projects of different types and sizes in the development stage. Yeah, this company has an insane amount going on right now. But either way, to break things down, the main and furthest along
Now, The Witcher obviously was a successful series, still is. 4 is probably going to also be successful. Well, it's 100% going to be successful, but it's not going to sell as much as previously. Everyone knows it. Like, 4 just doesn't look good. From the trailer and from all of the choices, it looks woke as shit. They do I can't imagine that they really have so much money. I can't imagine that they have so much money to open a studio in America and Canada and make 9 games at the same time. It's like this, this doesn't make sense because The Witcher is not the only successful story. And keep in mind, by the way, at the time that and the time frame that we're looking for all of this to make sense is 2 to 5 years ago. And at that time, it's like, okay, only The Witcher is making them that much money. And while The Witcher is making them a lot of money, we know a lot of other studios who have had similar success to these sales. For example, Ubisoft, BioWare, and all of those companies are borderline at the brink of bankruptcy. Yeah, even though they probably made maybe even more money in some situations than the Witcher series. So again, the CDPR red situation does not make a lot of sense to me from from financial point of view.
Project is The Witcher 4. We know this won't be out until 2027 at the earliest. CDPR just confirmed it won't release in 2026 during their previous earnings call, but then the floodgates are really going to open. They've said they're dropping 3 Witcher games in 6 years. The Witcher 4 is building out the technology and engine that will be used for the new trilogy, so subsequent games can be developed even faster than The Witcher 4. So you could see something pretty crazy like this as a timeline, where we're getting a major Witcher release every year or so for the better part of a decade. Next up is Cyberpunk 2, which also includes a new studio. CDPR North America is currently being built out in Boston. CDPR's proper HQ is in Warsaw, Poland. And this is actually a really big deal. This new Boston office is really meant to be the Cyberpunk studio, at least for the time being. Conversely, back in Poland, they're going to be working on the next 3 Witcher games. So CDPR will be dual developing a Cyberpunk game and Witcher game at the exact same time, at least for the foreseeable future. And they're growing a ton to do this. They're hiring a bunch of additional employees this year, so hypothetically it means a lot more content.
And again, the reason so many people are so fearful of wokeness and CDPR, because I mean, see, how many times do I have to say this? The CEO lied, and it's proven that he lied. We know he lied. Literally, you can compare the credits in games and see that he's literally lying when he says, "Oh no, all the old people who made the good games that you love are still here." No, they're not. No, they're not. And again, you're opening you're opening 2 studios in literal hellscapes called Boston and Canada in general, I guess, which no one expects to have anything good. Like, look at what look at what the things Ubisoft has brought out. And Ubisoft is, by the way, based in Canada primarily. Nothing, absolutely nothing.
Should be coming from this company overall. A couple of years ago, CDPR bought the Molasses Flood. They're also in Boston and now working on Sirius. We know this is some type of new Witcher game that's really meant to appeal to a new audience. In the background, you can see some of the
Oh boy, modern audiences, eh?
gameplay footage from the Molasses Flood's past game, so you could see it's quite a bit different. We don't know a ton of details about this one. It's suspected to have multiplayer, but it's clearly not going to be an M-rated RPG. Fool's Theory is made up of former Witcher devs, and CDPR just hired them to remake The Witcher 1. This is being done in the new engine that's being built out for The Witcher 4. They're using Unreal Engine 5, but CDPR was specifically hired by Epic Games to make edits to Unreal Engine 5 for better open world games in the future. So while, yeah, it's still going to look like Unreal Engine 5, hopefully things are going to perform a bit better with The Witcher 4. And we may even see some totally new features that CDPR developed just for their open world titles. Although, based off the last earnings call, it seems like the process is taking longer than expected, with several people that were working on The Witcher 1 now actually working on prototyping things for The Witcher 4, which will later be adapted to that Witcher 1 remake. And during their last
Also, notice that submagically how while the CEO is saying, "Oh, no one left our studio," you have all this news about the Witcher stuff being given to studios that are from the ex-developers of CDPR Red. It almost seems like we have the second coming of the Blizzard Exodus, when, you know, a billion smaller studios were made from the ex-developers from Blizzard when they got disillusioned by, well, Blizzard and their shittiness, which, by the way, is a perfect parallel to what's currently happening with CDPR.
earnings call, a new game was revealed as well. Fool's Theory is working on another unannounced project. We literally have no idea what this is, but seemingly it isn't one of these 3 additional unannounced projects that were revealed during the latest earnings call. But yeah, just to put it into context, this company is incredibly busy right now. They already had a ton of games on the way, but even just in 2025, at least 4 new projects have been revealed that we don't know anything about right now. But then of course finally we do have Hadar. This is a new AAA RPG from CDPR, but for the first time, it's their own IP. Both Cyberpunk and The Witcher were created by other people, but CDPR is now creating their own thing. As of right now, we know literally nothing about this game, except the fact that it's very far away. I mean, they literally have to concept and come up with an entire world for this game to be set in. And if you start to do some of the math, you have to imagine this is going to be a 2030 or potentially even mid-2030s game. The Poland studio is going to be very busy with all of these Witcher projects, and the NA studio isn't even built out yet. They still have to hire everyone everyone and then make Cyberpunk 2. So that gets you up to speed with the 6 projects we currently know about. I mean, we don't know much, but sure, we're aware that they exist, and what you might notice is nearly all of these projects are very far away. This diagram shared during the last earnings call pretty much sums it up. Cyberpunk 2 is in pre-production now, so that can be changed, but otherwise everything here is super early into development. A lot of these games are looking at late 2020s to even 2030 release dates. But that makes the most recent news even more interesting, because it seems like these 3 secret projects they just talked about are going to be content that's being released in the shorter term. Some of the stuff that's going to be coming out in 2025 and potentially 2026 to hold us over until some of these other projects are ready. Because yeah, none of what we just talked about with all of those codename projects is included in these 3 secret projects.
So unannounced projects are the projects which have not been hinted at specifically at any point. So Hadar would not be one of these projects because while we haven't said anything specific about Hadar or didn't go into any details with it, we've been talking about it for a while. So these are the projects that have not been mentioned in any kind of communication by us before.
And honestly, that leaves it super open-ended. These could be almost anything, although CDPR does share some further color here.
And so the 3 unannounced projects that I mentioned are projects that are already in development phase according to IFRS standards.
So all of these projects are currently in development. IFRS standards is an accounting thing, but it basically means these are things in active development for a product to be used. So that could be an update or an entirely new game for a product. But notably, this isn't high-level research. This does seem to confirm that these 3 things are at least in proper development right now. But we also know that they're not all video games.
2 projects are gaming projects and 1 is not.
So 3 secret projects in total with 2 gaming-related ones and 1 non-gaming one. What on earth is CDPR working on right now? And
one of the things that potentially they could be working on, though, is the second expansion for Cyberpunk 2077. Because, again, it just fits in perfectly. It makes sense for it to happen.
honestly, part of what makes this difficult is the fact that it's hard to gauge what they're including as a secret project here. The entire context of this 9 projects with 3 secret ones was revealed as a result of them discussing development costs. You can see on this chart that CDPR's development costs rose quarter over quarter. In 2025, they're spending more money on development, and their justification for that was how they announced these 9 projects. Like, yeah, we're spending more because we got 9 things coming, 3 of them you don't even know about. But even further, they say these are projects not mentioned in any type of communication from CDPR before. And that's where it gets confusing. CDPR in their last earnings call did technically announce they have a new partnership with Scopely working on something. Scopely's a mobile game dev, so a Cyberpunk 2077, or really just Cyberpunk mobile game in general, seems like the obvious example. But is that included as a secret project? Mobile game in general.
Bro, listen, look at this.
Seems like the
I just die a little bit inside, okay? I look at this and I don't think the humanity is worthy any longer.
Obvious example, but is that included as a secret project? They've never announced whatever this game is, but they did announce they have a partnership, so does that count or not? And the one thing that does seem to be clear is these 3 projects are mostly being worked on by outside studios. We have this employee breakdown for CDPR, and there are only 14 devs internally on other projects right now. But very noticeably, CDPR makes it clear that this chart does not include third party.
By the way, this chart it's pretty funny because this chart is more of intent, not what's actually going on, because all of this can shift at a moment's notice. Okay? That's how it goes, obviously.
Party developers.
It's just a representation of intent, what they think is most important, what they are currently concentrating on, but something can shift.
So in my opinion, the 3 projects that make the most sense here are a new major Cyberpunk 2077 update, likely adding mod support, but hopefully further features beyond that. I suspect this is being developed by Virtuous right now. They're the people that did the last Cyberpunk update that came out of nowhere, and it's probably targeting a release for the 5-year anniversary of the game on December 10th. In the past, the new CDPR CEOs have remarked how they see mods as a real value add for their games.
When it comes to any future things, Cyberpunk, anything related, I mean, once we have something on our hands, we will definitely talk about that. But in general, I would indicate that community-created content by means of mods, enabled, empowered by really well-prepared tools is something we are fond of. and we do see value in that, in how we interact with the fans.
But at the same time, if a Cyberpunk update is being considered a secret project, wouldn't this new Witcher 3 mods on console update also be one? Maybe new projects just means new games and updates are exclusive.
Also, yeah, I was gonna say, new projects seem like new games, not actually. Okay, maybe adding mod support to a game could be considered a new project, but typically that does refer to, well, mainly, almost always exclusively just new games or expansions or whatever.
Included here, we just don't really know. I suspect the second new project is that Scopely game. I suspect it's a Cyberpunk mobile game, but this could get interesting. Scopely just acquired Niantic, the developers of Pokemon Go, and their partnership with CDPR was announced just a few months later, so maybe there is some tie-in or relevance there. But just overall, Cyberpunk feels overdue.
Oh god, that is such a horrid and bad buy, by the way. This is just money wasted. Because you need to understand, acquiring the Pokemon Go makers means that you're acquiring just a studio that's literally Obsidian tier, where they just made one good game in their life called Fallout New Vegas, and everything past that was not good. that's just it. So they paid a luxury tag price for a developer that just made a Pokemon game. And keep in mind, Pokemon games are those miracle things that just sell a lot of copies anyway, because Pokemon is the most recognizable and powerful brand in the world.
So maybe there is some tie-in or relevance there. But just overall, Cyberpunk feels overdue for something mobile. And lastly, for that non-game project, I just don't know. They have made it clear that Netflix is working on a new Cyberpunk anime. We know nothing else about that, outside of the fact that, yeah, it's from Netflix and an anime. But I do kind of imagine that's considered announced based off their criteria.
Okay, who's thinking the Netflix anime is gonna succeed? I don't think it's gonna, okay? Edge Runners was great. Okay, Edge Runners was amazing. I'm still listening to a couple of soundtracks, obviously. But, I mean, the modern Netflix is a joke. Okay, it's a complete joke. They have ruined, I think, the last 4 adaptations that they have made. And from Netflix original animation series, I think all but... I think like 5 out of 6 have been looking like trash from the ones that I have seen, and well, 1 out of 6 has not been complete garbage in general. It's not a good record.
We know what that project's going to be. So my best guess is it's just another anime on the way. Maybe some kind of Witcher anime is coming. This non-gaming project, though, is...
Did we have a Witcher anime? I think we had something anime, and it was really bad.
Easily the most confusing of the bunch. I'd honestly be curious to hear from you guys in the comments. What do you make of all of this? What do you think these 3 secret projects are? But the good news is we might be finding out more soon. Next week is a bunch of these summer gaming showcases, and CDPR is confirmed to be at the Summer Game Fest presentation. Although their CEO did pop up onto Twitter to clarify this attendance. I see a bit of creative speculation in the comments section. Please remember that next week we are launching Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition on Nintendo Switch 2. So keep calm, etc., and then a winky face. Cyberpunk 2077 has been incredibly active on SteamDB, so something more like a general update to the game could be coming to go along with this. Like perhaps they just updated the game for the Switch 2 version, and then that update will come to other platforms. We also know Mac support's supposed to be coming at some point. So while it doesn't feel impossible to get a mod support announcement for Cyberpunk or something along those lines, an update for the game, if you go into this expecting a new Cyberpunk DLC or even a new game announcement from CDPR, I think you're shooting your expectations just a bit too high. The CEO tweeted this for a reason. He wants to control expectations that the main focus here is going to be Cyberpunk 2077 on the Switch 2. But yeah, on June 5th, Cyberpunk 2077 could get an update. So if you do have mods, make sure you're ready for that. Separately, we do have the massive announcement that the Witcher 3 mod support will be extending to consoles. This was a bit of a funny one in that CDPR scooped themselves on it. I personally missed it, but Fan alerted me to the fact that in their full earnings report, which dropped on Wednesday, they do say the studio also announced that a new update for the Witcher 3 Wild Hunt will be released later this year, in which, thanks to a partnership with mod.io, mods popular with gamers will also be available on new generation consoles. That announcement was only shared on Twitter earlier today, 2 days after this earnings report, where just a lot of people didn't realize they accidentally announced it. But yeah, this is a pretty big deal. Players on both the Xbox Series S and X, as well as the PlayStation 5, will finally be able to download mods for The Witcher 3. Last year, CDPR launched mod tools on PC for the game, and some pretty cool stuff has dropped since then. Quest edits are finally widely possible and available. But there has been this overarching feeling that all of this is just too late. Lots of the modders have simply moved on from The Witcher 3, which of course is a 10-year-old game now.
Probably. I assume that's true. But I mean, they're gonna come back if it's really good.
Firstly, Cyberpunk 2077 modding is more active, and it just feels like this all happening with The Witcher 3 is really a prototype to add it into Cyberpunk 2077, and I think eventually add it to all of their AAA RPGs. This investment is a really good sign to me. I would fully expect both Cyberpunk 2 and The Witcher 4 to launch with full-on mod support for both PC and consoles, or at least get it after launch. And just generally, this is amazing. I am really happy to see more companies doing this finally, but as far as when or if mod tools are coming to Cyberpunk 2077, it's still a bit of an unknown. There's a lot of things pointing towards probably, but there's never actually been any concrete evidence that, yeah, they're coming. And we may even know more details about Cyberpunk 2, like when it's coming out. During this earnings call, it was also announced that the Cyberpunk 2 concept phase ended a few weeks ago, and the game is now in pre-production. One analyst asked about the release window for Cyberpunk 2. He basically said if we assume 5 to 6 years of pre-production, is a 2030 to 2031 release window realistic for this game? But CDPR's response here is quite interesting to me.
Remember the good old times when games were made in 4 years, not a goddamn decade?
Our journey from the pre-production to the final release takes 4 to 5 years on average. So a little bit less than I think what you said in the question. Having said that, keep in mind that each project is unique, and there are many variables that influence the final outcome. So I will not lead you into specific years, but yeah, I mean, this is pretty much how it looks.
My takeaway from this is CDPR internally is expecting Cyberpunk 2 slightly before that analyst timeline. I have a feeling that 4 years from pre-production might just be the goal due to how freaking busy they are. As of right now, we know The Witcher 4 is coming after 2026, many speculating 2027, which makes sense. We heard it was in pre-production in 2022, and if they typically release games 4 to 5 years after that, yeah, that gives you 2027 for The Witcher 4. But of course, we also know that CDPR wants 2 more Witcher games out within 6 years of that. So if we just assume The Witcher 4 in 2027 after 5 years of production, The Witcher 5 in 2030 makes a lot of sense. I have to imagine CDPR will want to avoid dropping Cyberpunk 2 in the same year as a new AAA Witcher game, simply because those 2 games could end up hurting sales of each other. People only have so much time and money to spend with a CDPR RPG in one given year. And as such, I think 2029 is the current internal target for Cyberpunk 2, which perfectly lines up with that 4 to 5 year production timeline from when pre-production does begin. Which, yeah, if we just do the math.
Okay. Well, it's probably happening. Well, it's definitely happening. We know that. But how good will it be? Oh, there's so much things to worry about when it comes to CDPR at this point, no? Well, anyway, that was Juicehead. 10 out of 10. Bye.